Today I got for you the very first look at F1 2021 gameplay. Thank you EA Game Changers for allowing me to capture footage ahead of the release of the game to share it with you guys.
Hello folks and welcome to Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for this, the inaugural round of the 2021 Formula 1 World Championship.
Now in today's video I'm going to go over Breaking Point, my team, driver career, multiplayer, as well as the two-player career and a lot of features that have not been announced yet. But with this gameplay, I'll be able to go and share with you guys, as a lot of content creators got the build, as well as a lot of information that came with that as well. Now starting off with Breaking Point, you'll see some gameplay right behind in the background as well. We'll go over everything that we know right now and everything that is actually in the build. Currently, in the build that I had, we could not play Breaking Point. They want to keep everything a secret, Codemasters does, all the way until it actually releases. I actually think that's a good thing, so that whenever it releases, we can actually have a lot of fun ourselves without having any spoilers up ahead. But Breaking Point is going to consist out of 3 seasons: F2 2019, then F1 2020, and then F1 2021, with the liveries, with the cars of those years as well. So it is confirmed that for Breaking Point, we'll actually see the 2020 cars as well. Now there will be 5 player selectable teams, and those consist of Racing Point and Aston Martin, Alfa Tauri, Alfa Romeo, Haas and Williams. You'll be able to pick a standard or casual experience, and basically what that means is assists as well as settings that actually go with the Breaking Point season. So for example, the race lengths, or being able to go and reset on the track automatically, that type of stuff. The cool thing about Breaking Point is that there is actually rendered cutscenes, which actually Codemasters hired a different studio to go and render like amazing. And we actually saw at the presentation a part of the rendered cutscene, and it literally looked like real life. Those cutscenes actually look really good. But those cutscenes are in Breaking Point. You got actually a couple of commentators. You got Davide Valsecchi, the legendary F2 commentator, of course, as well as David Crofty, who is in there as well, doing the broadcast. So we might see some races where you can actually hear the commentary while you're racing, which is quite cool if I say so myself. There's also a new driver room where you can go and read your emails, actually accept phone calls, as well as you have a social media and news feed in that driver room as well. I wonder how that's going to play out, but we'll most likely hear more about the features in there a little bit more. I reckon the story we're not going to hear anything about until release, but I reckon about those features that are in Breaking Point we'll probably hear a little bit once we get close to release. Now what you're seeing right now in the background is actually career mode. So this is the driver career. In the build that we had, I believe we got like 5 tracks. I think it was Belgium, Bahrain, Baku, we got Australia, and I think another track. I think I forgot that one. But those were the tracks that we got. Now next up, let's go to two-player career. Now, two-player career is actually a little bit different than we all thought it would be. Two-player career is actually a fully fledged career, and the funny thing is, you can either select a contract two-player career or a friendly co-op two-player career. And basically the differences between those two are that the co-op career, you will play with your teammate and you won't be able to get contracts from other teams, but with the contract career you'll be able to go and build up acclaim, and you'll be able to go and get a contract with a different team and actually branch out the team, do the R&D on those teams as well, and actually fight your friends all the way to the top. So imagine you get a contract from Mercedes, your friend gets a contract from Ferrari, you fight with Ferrari and Mercedes against each other. Literally the scenes that you could make are insane. Now, so like I said, there's going to be R&D as well as team acclaim in the two-player career as well. And the cool thing is that the career owner can actually go and swap the friends if needed as well. So if you have a friend that never shows up, we all know that guy, right? Mark, what are you doing, man? Come on, just show up. You can go ahead and swap your friends if needed, which is quite handy. Now next up, let's go to my team, which wasn't playable in the build that we had, but it's quite similar to driver career. However, there will be a couple of additions that driver career does not have, like it used to be in the F1 2020 game as well. A couple of new additions. Now, in F1 2021, critical R&D department events can happen. So I do not know exactly what they might be, but maybe a tsunami or something, who knows, maybe an earthquake, who knows, something like that, and it will actually, your decisions will go and impact what your team is going to do throughout the rest of the season. So I wonder how deep that's going to go, but there's at least a new feature that's going to go and make my team even more interesting. Then the Meet the Press questions have also been expanded. So the questions that we are actually on the screen right now with Claire are actually expanded as well. So we'll have a couple more questions so that Claire is not going to get annoying and we know comment everything. Now, with my team, with driver career, you're going to have R&D development boost. It will not work the same as it used to be. Normally, the R&D points would just get more and more as you progress through the seasons. But now you can actually earn development boost that will actually allow you to cut down the cost of those R&D upgrades, and you'll be able to buy a power upgrade a little bit cheaper. And how do you earn those development boosts? You earn them by playing practice. So the practice programs actually allow you to go and gain R&D points, but also allow you to go and get some development boost to cut down the cost. So what you can do in F1 2021 as well is you can go and get the quick practice out there, so you don't need to do the entirety of the practice sessions, but you do get a decent amount of the R&D points. Now next up, let's go over to the diehard fanbase, what the diehard fanbase all wants to know, and that is multiplayer. Now for multiplayer, we have not heard a lot of stuff about crossplay yet. I have a feeling they're not trying to go and want to talk about that, but maybe at some point, who knows, we can still get a huge announcement. Maybe they're waiting for a big announcement in that regard. But what is new about multiplayer is that you have a new beginner and experienced lobby setting. So there's a whole new interface, and I can't show you that unfortunately, but it looks sort of like what ACC, Assetto Corsa Competizione, has at the moment. Basically what you have is you have lobby filters as well as sort of like a quick interface where you can go and see if the lobby is actually for newbies like me or for more experienced drivers without assist or anything like that. So you can also see at a glance how long the races are, which you could already do of course, but it's a lot more intuitive and it looks a lot nicer. You can actually put filters on your lobby as well, for example just for fun or competitive racing or whatever. We haven't seen all the filters yet, but it should be enough to go and filter out which drivers you want to have in your lobby and which drivers you absolutely want to avoid. Me. Now over to some more general upgrades and tweaks and new features that F1 2021 has gotten. Now first off, the new tracks that are going to be added later on in the game's life cycle will be added as they are completed. So I actually asked this question to the devs and they told me once a track is completed, they'll put it into the game as soon as they can. So they are not going to be releasing a giant DLC with all the tracks at once. Once a track is done, they'll put it into the game as soon as possible. There's a new focus driver statistic, and that focus driver statistic actually allows for drivers to go and perform at their best or to the best of their extent. So once you have a very high focus driver statistics on one of your drivers, they will start to perform as close as they can to what they should be. And the focus driver statistic is actually impacted by the decisions you make as a team, the press interview questions or answers you actually give, as well as the performance out on track. Now we have a new expert race style, which actually allows you to pick either casual, standard or expert in terms of your driving assists. Basically throughout this, now the assists are still the same in terms of how you're going to tweak them. However, for a lot of option settings, you can go and tweak it a lot more. You have a lot more customization, especially for example in the mechanical failures. You can go and say, yo, I want a high probability of failures, or I want no failures at all, or I want a low probability of having failures in terms of our teammates or whoever's out on track. You can also change how quickly you actually earn resource points, as well as how quickly the other teams get resource points. So you can actually tweak your career mode so you can make it harder for yourselves or easier or whatever you want. So there's a lot more customization there. Now the cool thing actually is that for the F1 2021 game, in terms of car customization, information. There will be some new liveries, but there will also be Halo stickers. So what you can do is you can go and pop a sticker on the Halo, and you'll be able to go and see it in the T-Cam, of course, as well as when you're driving in the cockpit cam. And most of you guys probably already knew this, but there will be victory radios as well. Once you finish the race, you'll be able to go and pick a victory radio if you've won or if you're on the podium or something like that. Victory radio, I don't think we were able to go and test, but we'll see it very, very soon. Now, apart from that, the audio has been approved as well. And the cool thing about the audio is that you can actually hear the turbo a lot more, as well as when you drive close to the walls, you can definitely hear the sound bouncing off the walls a lot crisper, a lot nicer. It actually, like, you kind of want to drive close to the walls. That's how cool it sounds, you know? As well as what I actually like a lot. I don't know if I like the sound, but it's really, really cool, especially for all of you who drive in the cockpit cam. If you drive in the cockpit cam, you have a new sound setting. You can turn it off or you can turn it on, and I'll put it on the screen right now. It's really, really cool. This setting allows you to go and have a very realistic sound that actual drivers will actually hear when they sit in the cockpit as well as with their helmet on. Now, talking a little bit about the handling changes that have gone from F1 2020 all the way on to F1 2021. The handling has actually changed quite a bit. The cars have become a lot snappier, like a lot more snappy, so that whenever you get over a curb, look guys, this year the curbs are deadly. You do not want to hit any curb. You're gonna die, guys. You're gonna die. But it is also a lot more snappy. You can see in the gameplay that we are actually watching right now as well that I've lost the car a couple of times. And you're definitely going to have to get used to it. I do not know if the driving is more understeery. It feels like a little bit of both. You just have to get used to it, but in all, I actually like it so far. I reckon it's actually quite easy to get used to. It's a lot easier to get used to compared to what we had from F1 2019 coming over to F1 2020. Now, we actually also have ray tracing enabled for any console that can actually run it. In the replay cameras, broadcasting cameras, as well as showroom cameras, we can actually have shadow ray tracing as well as light ray tracing, which actually looks quite cool. Now, next up is the real season start, where you can actually go and pick off where the real life F1 season has left off. So, for example, when the actual F1 season is at Baku, you'll be able to go and hop on in the game and continue on with Verstappen in the lead of the championship, Hamilton right behind, and you can continue on from there and actually go and simulate whatever is happening in real life. Now, Codemasters actually told us that the real season standings are actually going to try and get updated as soon as they can. Whenever the race is over, they're going to try and get the new standings in the game as soon as they can, so you can go and enjoy it whenever the race is done as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this was the gameplay for today. However, we got plenty more coming in the coming days, so if you have not yet gone and subscribed, make sure you do it. And if you have not yet followed my Twitch stream as well, make sure you do so. Link is in the description right now, guys. I would love to see you very, very soon. My name is Tom. I'm out for today. See you in the next one. Peace.